Welcome to another episode of teeZee Book Reviews. I'm Jessica, and today we're diving into a book that peels back the curtain on one of the most influential platforms of our time, No Filter, by Sarah Frier. Joining me is Brian, our resident tech enthusiast and bunting critic. Hey, Brian.
Hey, Jessica. Really excited about today's conversation. No Filter offers some chilling and, quite frankly, eye-opening insights into Instagram, doesn't it?
Absolutely, Brian. It's much more than just a behind-the-scenes look at Instagram's rise. It's a deep exploration into the app's massive societal impact and the dynamics between its founders and Facebook.
Right, and what I found particularly compelling were the surprising revelations sprinkled throughout the book. Did you know Instagram started as a different app altogether? It was initially a location-based check-in app called Bourbon.
Yeah, it's crazy how that initial pivot was so pivotal for them. Imagine what the digital landscape would look like today if they'd not decided to focus on photography. Frier really does a brilliant job in chronicling how Systrom and Krieger reshaped their startup into a photo-sharing behemoth.
And Sarah Frier walks us through how integral the concept of visual storytelling was to their success. It's fascinating how Instagram identified this innate human drive to connect through images. That combination of simplicity and aesthetic appeal was their secret sauce.
Indeed. It's almost poetic, right? The filters turned mundane shots into works of art, encouraging people to present their lives more artfully. But the book goes on to examine deeper issues at the heart of Instagram's operations: its acquisition by Facebook, the algorithms, and rising influencer culture.
Oh, absolutely. The acquisition by Facebook was another turning point, wasn't it? It wasn't just a mere merger. It marked the start of a complex relationship between the two companies. Frier unveils some intense tensions between the Instagram founders and Mark Zuckerberg.
Exactly, which led to the departure of Systrom and Krieger. Unlike many acquired companies, this move could have stifled Instagram's growth. But instead, it was just the beginning. It's a saga of creative control, cohesion, and compromise.
Another angle that fascinated me was the book's exploration of Instagram's influence on our culture. From boosting influencer culture to altering our shopping habits, the app's reach extends far beyond mere photo sharing. It questions fundamental aspects of our digital society.
That's a huge aspect of No Filter for me, too. The influencer culture is both riveting and somewhat disheartening when you think about its repercussions on self-image and consumerism. People seeking validation through likes and follows. It shines a harsh light on our social predicament.
Right, Brian. Frier tackles this honestly, especially the impact of algorithms. One of the book's spine-chilling revelations is about Facebook's data practices, capturing every unsent message and every hovered-over post. That algorithmic reach is both brilliant and terrifying.
Which brings us to critical lessons for entrepreneurs and anyone in the tech space. Focus and commitment to a robust user experience were central to Instagram's success. They relentlessly prioritize simplicity and aesthetics, making the platform both intuitive and pleasurable.
And their willingness to embrace change is another key lesson. When market dynamics and user needs shifted, they shifted their strategy too. Imagine the grit needed to pivot from a check-in app to a thriving social network based on visuals.
Such resilience. And the emphasis on a strong company culture seamlessly emerges from the book. Instagram's culture of creativity and collaboration lays a framework for any budding entrepreneur to ponder upon.
But let's not overlook the book's cautionary tales, like the potential pitfalls of acquisitions. Instagram's seemingly successful acquisition almost led to these losses in control and cultural clashes. It's a powerful reminder for business leaders considering such moves.
Absolutely, Brian. No Filter also nudges us to understand the profound power of algorithms. As entrepreneurs, the ethical considerations surrounding data collection and user manipulation are not just business concerns. They're our moral responsibility.
And speaking of ethics, there's a poignant discussion on authenticity. The book reflects on how Instagram initially advocated for authenticity, but eventually got isolated in curated portrayals of life, a paradox of sorts that social media perpetuates.
A paradox indeed. This drives home the dangers of seeking validation online. There's an insightful quote in the book about how changing who you are for online approval chips away at one's soul.
And therein lies Frier's remarkable insight into Instagram's influence, not just on users, but on critics, entrepreneurs, and policymakers alike. It's a must-read for anyone questioning the future of social media, as you highlight, Brian.
As algorithms grow smarter, it raises questions about using them responsibly and ethically. How do we safeguard against filter bubbles and misinformation? These questions linger after closing the book.
Exactly, Jessica. No filter is pivotal for understanding social media's evolution and Instagram's undeniable impact on our culture and society. It definitely lingers in your mind long after reading.
Sarah Frier has woven a compelling narrative that doesn't just delve into Instagram's rise, but provides essential lessons on navigating the digital maze today. Thank you, Brian, for another engaging chat.
Thanks for having me, Jessica. It's always enlightening discussing these thought-provoking reads with you.
And that wraps up another episode of teeZee Book Reviews. Stay tuned for next week's exploration, and until then, keep questioning and, of course, keep reading. Goodbye, everyone.